Hassan, do you want to say something?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yeah, good morning. Yeah, really excited to join on this call. Yeah, I'm a software engineer. Working with a software engineering firm, and I'm really excited to learn a thing or two about BigQuery and basically how that the whole approach of data analysis with BigQuery. And I'm also really curious about how to bring in the data. That's where my deeper curiosity is coming from. And I already have some thoughts around that, but I'm just really curious about the approach that will be taken during this call. So yeah,
Okay.
I'm really excited and looking forward.
Okay. Thank you,
Thank
Hassan.
you.
Okay, cool. We'll just go straight. So we are looking at unlocking the data universe on GCP. So there are different cloud and data solutions out there, but today we thought of looking at BigQuery with the Google Cloud Platform. Yeah, I think it's very easy to use. It is so straightforward, and I hope some of us know how to use SQL because we will be using that largely. But if you don't know how to use it, don't worry. We got you. We got you. You will learn on the job, and then you will also follow through. I really hope that we can follow through. As Wesley mentioned, I hope we have our laptops with us to do something practical because if you do it practically, you will learn better, you will follow through better. Yeah. So we know that data analytics is the fuel that powers the engine of informed decision making. So, in every organization, data analytics, even if it's not an organization, it may be just your school, your education. Analytics, every time you're looking at data, every time to make a decision, you have to first look at the data points that are coming to you and then you make a decision. You may not be very aware of it, but every time you're thinking, okay, what happened when I did this, so I can't do it. Basically, you're reviewing information in form of data, and then you are making a decision. So, on a larger scale, organizations are going to also use data that is coming through to make an informed decision. Yeah, data of clients, data of how much products are being bought. If you have a website, why are my clients only coming to see this particular site? Is there something very significant about this site or this product? Why are they just buying this product? So you can still use this knowledge in your, I don't know, side hustle, your education, building sites, building applications that you're building. This knowledge can come in handy. So that means that more and more companies are looking to find reliable ways of analyzing their data. This is where BigQuery comes in. Yeah. So with BigQuery, it is a fully managed and serverless data warehouse that manages large data sets. So what I mean by fully managed and serverless is that it is fully managed by by the cloud provider. Yeah. So you're basically coming to just load your data, do your analysis, get your insights, and walk away. It's not you. You're not managing any infrastructure. You're not managing any warehouse. You just load your data into the warehouse and then do your analytics and then walk out. So basically, your life is very simplified with this solution. Okay, so the characteristics, as we have said, number one, it is serverless, yeah? So you're only going to focus on the analytics and not the infrastructure. You're not going to say, okay, now my server is down, or now my PC is down, or this and this is happening. You're not focusing on any infrastructure. All the necessary background processes are put in place, and then you're just coming to do your analytics and life is very simplified. Yeah, I think we're now having a smile on our face. And then it is highly scalable. As we know, with all cloud applications and all cloud deployments, they're always scalable. You can always scale up and down depending on the need and depending on the kind of data that you're going to use. So if you have very little data, you can always you use only what you need. You don't have to have a lot of you don't have to have a lot of space for something that is very small. Yeah, you use only what you're going to. Sorry, you only purchase what you're going to need. And I'm going to show you the costs. It's not very expensive, so it's a cost-effective cloud data warehouse. Now with the costs, I have the pricing here, so you can see the. So every month, the first terabytes that you're processing of data is free, yeah? And then you're going to, after that, $6.2 per terabyte, yeah? But we're going to see in the processing, you may not even, you may not even reach a terabyte in a month or in 2 months when you're processing your data. That means you're using the service for free, um, according to your data set. Yeah. So basically, you processing 1 full terabyte of data means that you are a well functioning organization. You can afford this service. Yeah. But if you can't afford the service, you're just doing it on a small scale, you can still do it, and it is nearly free, I can say. Yeah. And if you don't have a cloud, uh, a Google Cloud account, when you log in and when you create your account, you're given a full $300 for free for the full year. So I don't know if you can process data up to $300 really in the year. But that is those are the pricing options. Very very affordable. Okay. Then so basically the problem that we are solving with this is we have version control. We are doing version control. Most of you who are developers know this very well, but if you're not a developer, basically think about an organization. You're having different, maybe you're using Google Sheets, yeah, to analyze your data, Excel, and stuff, and you're using formulas and all of that. But think about it's a larger organization. You're having the marketing department having its own numbers. You're having the finance department, it has also its own numbers and sheets and folders. And then you're having sales department also having its own sheets and all of that. Yeah. And then also the customer service department. All of these departments, they're having almost the same data. So you're having duplication around all through the organization, but yet the insights they're getting are different from the based on their needs. They're getting different insights at different times. They're processing data at different times. Not all of them are going to be processing the data at the same time. That means that number one, there is going to be duplication. Number two, you're going to have different versions of the same information or on different occasions. Yeah. So I can generate a report today. Someone has generated it maybe a week ago, and then we are having almost the same, but it's not the same. There's a lot of duplication, and there's a lot of inconsistencies with our data. And then if someone adds something in one sheet, that is not replicated on the other sheets that the other departments have. So you're having a lot of inconsistencies with your versions of the same data. So we want to solve this problem, and how we are solving it is we are having a central repository for this data. If anyone wants to come and do any analysis, let them analyze it from there and let the insights stay there. Let them share the information with whoever they want to share it with, and that is where IAM and access control comes in, and we're going to see how that works. Yeah. So IAM is identity and access management. Yeah. Identity and access management means that I have my data on the cloud. I'm going to stipulate who can access it and which parts they can access. Yeah. But still, remember, we are having the same pool of the data. So that means that if any changes are being made, they are likely going to be made on the same pool of the data. Yeah. Okay, I think we're understanding the concept that I'm trying to bring out. So basically, this is the major problem, and this is why we are encouraged a lot to use cloud-based solutions, because with these cloud-based solutions, you can do your collaborations. You have a lot of version control. You can do identity and access management. If you want someone to just be a viewer, they will only be a viewer. If you want them to be an editor, they will only be they can be an editor and a viewer. If you want them, basically, depending on what you want them to do, it's what you assign them to do. Other than having different versions of the same copies, and they're being changed at I don't know what time, and you're not having a lot of control on how the data is looking. Yeah. Okay. The features, as we have said, serverless, you have real time analytics. So, with the real time analytics, we mean that you're processing your data in real time. So, we're going to see the different ways that the data can be coming in, but we have you can use storage options where you're uploading the data, but you can also have data that is coming in real time. Yeah, maybe from an IoT from your IoT device, or streaming in from your phone, from your application. How many users are using your application in real time? So you have data streaming in real time. You can still do real time analytics, and you're seeing what is happening in real time using BigQuery. Yeah. And then it's high availability. As we've talked about, cloud solutions, they're highly available wherever you are. You can always just log into your account and see. And then it uses standard SQL. So standard SQL is not very hard. If you're not very familiar with it, we shall learn together in this session as we follow through. And then it is ideal for data lake and data warehousing solutions. So with data lake and data warehousing, data lakes, that is semi-structured or unstructured data, and data warehousing where you have structured data. And then storage and compute separation, automatic backup and easy restore, and then flexible pricing models, as we have seen. Okay. Do we have any questions before we proceed? Are we okay? I don't know. I don't want to move very fast. I want all of us to be on the same page. Yep. Any questions so far? Uh, Before we continue? Oh, we are all good.
We'll ask at the end.
You will ask at the end. At which end? Okay, that's fine. That's fine. I don't mind. Let's continue. So basically, we have. So this is how I've just given you an overview of how BigQuery is going to be ingesting our data. It's going to be taking in the data and then processing it. So our steps are storage, ingestion, and querying. So with storage, BigQuery is going to store our data as in form of structured in a structured format. Yeah. And yeah, some of us, the developers on here, know what structured format is, but some of us may not know what it is. Basically, you're having rows and columns. The data is being explained. It is very well arranged. That is the kind of structured format that we are going to be taking in. Yeah, and then it BigQuery is going to replicate it and distribute this storage. Yeah, and then because of this format that the data is going to be taken in, we are going to use SQL to review that kind of data. Okay, and then with our ingestion, um, we use cloud storage, as I've mentioned, cloud storage, and we're going to see it. Then cloud data flow and other and more other forms. Yeah. So with cloud storage, that means that I am uploading my file into the cloud. I'm giving it a name, and I'm going to store it, and then I'm going to connect it to my platform. And then with data flow, this is where we are having our IoT devices, our applications into streaming in data. Okay. And then any other formats that we have, if it's in CSV, if it's in JSON format, we can all load them into BigQuery, and we're going to see how that happens practically. Okay. And then as when we are querying, we query with SQL, and then this is how basically the general view of how an SQL statement will look like is this. So basically, you're having from where group by clauses, order by clauses, and then you're selecting a particular phrases or particular columns and rows, and you're querying you're querying them to give you a particular response. Okay. So before we go into it practically, I just wanted to also talk about cloud and identity access management. Basically, what I was talking about, when you have your when you have your data set, you have your basically data that has been put into your data warehouse. You have it, you can share it with whoever you want to share it and give them the permissions that you want them to have. Yeah. So basically, it means I'm sharing it with who. For example, I can want to share it with Wesley. Yeah. If they have a Google Cloud account, sorry, a Gmail account, you can share it with them, or you can share it as a group. So you can create groups where I can say, okay, now I'm having Wesley, Sumaya, I don't know, Brian on the same group, and because of that group, they're going to have the same permissions and permissions to a particular resource. So if people are in, for example, the same department, let's say if they are all in the accounting department, I can put them in one group and then share that resource to that particular group instead of having to now come and put in and always update everyone's email address on that particular on that particular resource. Yeah, we shall see that. So basically, we are stipulating who can do what and on which resource, which particular resource. So for every resource, you can always adjust the permissions of who is doing what. So that being said, before we go to this data set, I want us to look at how BigQuery looks like. Yeah, BigQuery. If you haven't seen it, you can just come on this search and type in whatever you want to type in. Yep. Are we all on the same page? Okay. Just by you can put your thumb up if you're on the same page. So Keith, have you created a project? Okay. Kwezi. Kwezi, are you saying it's okay? Are you raising your hand for a question?
I'm on the same page you're using. I'm trying to create my first project.
Okay. Yes. Create your first project and then we get into it. So after you've created your project, as you're creating the project, let me take uh, everyone through the rest of the basically the outlook and how it works. Yeah. So here, when we go to add, if you want to add your data sets, if you want to connect a database, this is how you add. So if you have a local file on your computer that you want to connect, and then, or if you have, if you want to connect it to Google Cloud Storage directly, or if you want to connect an external data source. So what we mean by connecting external data sources, for example, if you have an Excel file on your laptop, you can do a connection to an external data source. That means that the file itself is not going to be imported into Google Cloud. It's going to remain on your computer. However, you can do all of the analysis on it. The only downside to this is it's going to be much slower because of caching. Yeah, we know the concept of caching. When you load your file to wherever you're working, the computer is going to be aware of the resources you're using the most, the pages you're using the most, and it is going to cache them. Yeah, so that anytime you're making a query, it is a faster response because the pages have been basically, can I say stored, or yeah, it's like you getting uh, into a store, but picking a few books and putting them maybe in your bag or somewhere, or bookmarking your pages. Basically, the things are being cached and stored nearby. The computer is saying, okay, she's using A, B, C, D, E, F, G more, so let me store it nearby in case she needs A. I can easily supply it. However, if you have a connection to an external data source, that Excel file that is on your computer that you don't want to directly load onto the cloud, yes, you'll do the analysis, but it will remain on your computer, and because there is no caching, it will be much slower than on the cloud. Okay, so I think while we are doing this, I have a data set for us that we are going to be using. But in your free time, you can choose any data set and you can go with it. So here, down here, there are a lot of data sets that they've given us that we can look at. Public data sets, let's see how they work. So you can choose whichever data set in whichever category you want: health, weather, COVID-19, so that you can just have a feel of how it works. Yeah. Or I studied here, but if you can just type public here, and they'll bring for you the public dataset. You search for projects, and here they are. So they're bringing any publicly available datasets. And you can also make your own data set public if you want it to be, if you want people to use it. Yeah, still using the identity and access management. You just say make it available for anyone or everyone, so someone can use it. Maybe we can use it in the next training. Okay, so let's look at how one data set may look like. So basically, this is how it looks like. Yeah, they're just giving us information on the data set itself. The ID created, all of these. And if we want to make any queries, we can make a query on that data set. So these are the different schemas that it has. I wasn't showing you. So basically, how we are going to add it, we're going to come add the file, add it as a local file. Here, we are selecting the file. We browse the location that you've put it in. It will automatically see the file format, and then you're going to create a new data set as its destination. The data set ID is the name that you want it to have. So it's going to be under my projects, and then the dataset ID and the table under that. The dataset, and I select the dataset, and then the table. What I want the table to be named file. For example, the link that I've given you, when you download, the file becomes local. That means it is on your device. Yeah, and then you can use Google Cloud Storage. So with Google Cloud Storage, it is here. Let me show it to you. it is right here. Yeah. So we are getting our data and putting it in a bucket. Basically, or we can say storing it in a container, in a bucket, in in a bag somewhere, yeah, and then we finally connect it to our workspace in BigQuery, yeah. That is basically what it means. And then if we are doing connections to external data sources, that means that you have your file locally. For example, now the file that you have on your PC, yeah, you have it locally, but you're like, no, I don't want to put it in my cloud workspace. Let me maybe it is your workspace is a work account, and you don't want to add stuff there that is going to bring confusion. So I'm like, no, let me work on it from my local device. So you can do a connection to an external data source. You connect it, you work on it from there, and you leave it there. Yeah, that is what it means. And that is what I was explaining. You're going to do all of your analysis, your SQL, your visualizations, but you're going to leave it on there on the local machine. You're not going to import it into the cloud environment. Okay, and then when I was talking about the different data sets that we can have, here I showed you the data sets, the public data sets, and they're right here. Clicked here, and then I got a whole, you can choose whichever category you want, and then you can go on with the different data sets that you're given. Yeah, if you want to use this data set, you go along with it. If you want to use, depending on what you want to practice in. So these ones are just test databases. They're just um, they're just public data sets that have been availed to you through this platform for you to come and maybe practice or analyze, do all of the tests that you want to do on this database, yeah, on these databases, and they are available publicly. It's what I was showing you, yeah, on the other end. I don't know if we are still lost. I've tried to go back a bit. Yeah, basically, if you want to connect it from Google Cloud, if you have Amazon, Azure Blob Storage. So Azure Blob Storage is from Microsoft, yeah. And then Amazon S3 data transfer. If you have from AWS, you have a bucket that has your data. You just connect from here. And then what I was talking about, if you have information coming in real time, you're going to use data stream, yeah, and you connect the database from here. Okay, so I hope we are not lost. Now, since we have our file, we are going to connect it to our cloud environment. Yeah. So we're going to go to add and then to the local file. Okay. Are we all here?
Yes.
Okay. Anyone else? I don't want to leave anybody behind. Okay, Desire says yes. Okay. The last person to confirm, you can just put your thumb up. Here. Okay. Now we can continue. So from here, basically what we are going to be doing is selecting that file that you already have. Yeah. So you select the file, you browse on your computer, you check out where you put it, and then there it is. I load it here. And then, so this is the source. Yeah. And then it is going to automatically pick the format that the file is in. Yeah. And then what is my destination? Yeah. my destination, they're describing for us the project that you have, yeah, the project that you have created, and then the data set, yeah, the name of the data set. So you're going to create a new data set because now that this basically it's a new data set that you're loading, yeah. So what is the name of the data set that you want to put? For me, I've used Salesforce. I already created the database. I've used Salesforce. You can use whichever name that you feel like you want to name the data set. Let me get it. Sales data. Okay. Okay, then the region. When you select multiple regions, you're going to have you're going to have you're charged more when you select multiple regions, but you select the region that is nearest to you or that you feel is more reliable, or all the regions are reliable, but you select the one that is nearest to you, and then you create the data set. Okay. So I've created my new data set, sales data, and then I select it. Okay, I hope that's fine. And then we're also going to create the table name. So the data set itself can have multiple tables that we are putting in, yeah. But for this for this data that we have to give it a sales name. Sorry, a table name. Yeah. So you can put in any other data that is related, that it may be sales data, and you decide to put it in the same data set but a different table name. So I would say international. Okay, and then the schema, I'm going to ask it to automatically detect the schema, and I'm not going to tamper with the rest of the settings, and I'm going to create the table. Okay, they told me my job has been created. Okay, are we good there? Are we good? Are we good? Have we managed to create our table and our data? Okay, Kwezi says good. That's nice. Okay, Desire has managed to. That's nice. Anyone else? Anyone having issues? Please let us know. Yes, Keith.
Could you please go back to the section of creating tables? I think I missed that.
Pardon?
I'm saying, could you please go back to the part of creating tables after creating a data set, then creating the tables? I think I kind of missed that.
Okay, so when you create, I'm here. Where exactly? This destination?
The table, yeah, the table after creating the data set. What did you do with the table?
You also just give us a name for the table. So basically what we are doing here, let me show you from this end. So you see that this was my destination. Just give me a second. This was the destination, yeah. This is the project that I created. I think you also created the project, and this is the data set, yeah. And this is the table that you're creating. So under one data set, you can have multiple tables, yeah. So you can have more data that is related that you think is also part of cells, and you put it under the same data set. Yeah, but it's just a table. So on the part of table, you're just going to name the table whichever name you want to give it, and then you create the table. Is that fine?
Yeah, okay. Okay.
Yeah, just name it whichever name you want to name it, and yeah.
Okay.
Anyone else has an issue? Yeah, yeah, yeah. Should I continue? So you're able to see you're able to see your data that you have put in, yeah? So this is how the schema looks like. So the schema is going to show us the field name, the type, and the mode, yeah? So the field name, we have region, country type, all of these are in the field name, and what is their type? String, the order date is a date, integers, we have floats, we have all of these types. Are they nullable or not? Basically, it's giving us an overview of how our data looks like. So if we want more details of the data, you can come here, you still look at the details of the data. If you want to have a preview of your data, yeah, you can come and have a look at it. So we have the regions, the country, the item, the sales channel, and all of these, yeah. So we have 100,000 rows of information. Yeah, it would be very hard to manipulate this kind of data in an Excel sheet. That is why we are looking at using BigQuery. Okay, so all of these are insights and overviews of the data and how it looks like. So if I want to create a query, yeah, I can create a query in a new tab or in a split tab. Yeah. So let me say I want to create it in a split tab. I want to have a view of this side as well as the data that I am working with. So we are querying using SQL. Yeah. Let's make our first query, the most famous query. Select all. Yeah. From this data set. Okay. And then when we say run, we are going to see our results. Okay, I want it to be in a larger. Let me make the query in a new tab so that we can see. So when I run it, I don't know if you have seen how much data it is going to use. Let me. So up here, where my cursor is, this shows that the query that you've put in is a correct SQL statement, and this query is going to run. And then it's also going to show you how much data you're going to use to process the query. Yeah. So as I said, every time you're processing the query, the first 1 TB is free every month. So think about it. This is a large data set, and we are selecting all from the whole data set. Yeah, and we are only going to use 11.72 MBs. If you're to think about it, let me just say 1000 divided by 11. So you're going to have to do this query around 90 times for you to go over the limit and for you to be charged. Yeah. So that's why I was saying it is almost free. So we have our results here. And then when we have our results here, we're going to see other SQL statements. I'm just going to take you through you can save your results as a CSV file on your Google Drive or locally. So, for example, you have maybe created just a subsection of your whole data and you want to save only that. You can save that locally or on the drive. You can explore your data with Google Sheets. So when you explore it with Google Sheets, it's going to take you to an Excel file with all of the data and your basically your view, how you have created it to be. Then if it is Looker Studio, you can create dashboards with Python Notebook. We are going to see how that works as well. And also with Data Canvas for visualization. It works the same as Looker Studio. It is an upgrade of the Looker Studio. So, are we on the same page? Should I go behind, in front? I don't know. Are we okay? Then also, you can save the particular query that you have made, or you can save the view that you have created. So basically, let me explain what a view is. So I've said select all from this schema and limit it to the first 1000, yeah? So it's going to give me the first 1000 rows. Remember, my rows were 100,000, but I've asked it to limit it to only the first 1000 rows. So this one becomes a view of the original, yeah? So we have the original that has 100,000 rows, but since I want only 1000, it is a view in itself. So I can say, okay, I just want to work with the first 1000. The other one is very big. Let me save this view. So I save it and then I now work on it exclusively. Yeah. Also, this kind of working will help you just optimize instead of working on the whole data set as 100,000 rows and columns. You're just now working on 1,000 rows that you feel um, way more or are making more sense to what you're doing, and you are saving on the you're optimizing on how much you're on your processing power basically. Yeah. Okay. um does anyone want to volunteer an SQL statement that they think would be interesting for us to do, to work on? Okay. Let me select the countries. So when I look at this data, I see countries and I see units that are being sold and the amount that is being sold. So I want to see how many countries are having units that are sold that are over 2,000. Let me see, or that are over 1,000 or 5,000. So we can create an SQL statement for that. Can say, instead of writing everything again, so I can say select. If you don't want to write this again, you can go back and look at the schema and just click here, yeah? And this will automatically reflect here. So we are selecting country. From our data set where the units that are sold so we have our units sold here. And we want to find out, okay, which ones are more than, let's see, 5,000. So you realize that I'm having a syntax error here, right? This error is coming because I'm having two two SQL statements that that they're all correct, and I'm having them at the same time. So how do I go about that? I either remove one, or I highlight the one I want to run, and then I run it. Oops. Why is there an error? Okay, just a sec. Next countries where units sold. Okay. So this query will process, and we run our query. So it's showing me the countries where the units sold are greater than 2000. Then I can just ask it to give me a total of the countries. So basically, I'm getting the total profits from all the regions. And then let me ask it to name the regions and the profit. Okay, so I am forming my statement. And I'm selecting the regions and the total sum from this data set, and I'm grouping it by the regions. So yeah, as you can see, I'm having the regions and what the total sum is from every region. So I may decide that okay, I want to work with only this kind of view instead of working with the whole view of the of the of the data of the data set that I've loaded. I'll just save this view and then work with it. So the initial challenge came from the naming of the schemas. So you're going to make sure that the way that the schemas are named is the way that you're putting in your queries. If you have, let's say if this region is capital R and you're using a small r, you're going to have an error, yeah, because the schema is named differently. So how I solved that issue is I just went back to the schema, and I was making the query directly from the schema instead of having to look at the way that the names are made. Sorry, the names are written and writing them directly here. Okay. Do we have some people who have made some queries, who have been successful, who have saved some views? You can let us in and we see where you are and how to help you. Do we have any people who are successful at this point? People who need help? You can just raise your hand. Let us know what your status is. Are you okay? Okay, someone is saying they're okay. Nice. Anyone else? Have you written some SQL statements? Please note if you have more than one statement, you're going to have to first highlight the one that you want to run and run it directly, or just press Control Enter. Yep. Are you guys good? Okay, I suppose we are good. One more person. Okay, did you finally get to write the statements? Are you seeing the views? Are you able to save the views?
Yeah, indeed. And I think I also realized that the variables only work in backticks. Like initially, I was feeling like I had written a single quote, but it didn't work, and it only works in backticks. So
Pardon?
I was saying, I also realized that the variables, for example, that select county from wherever, where units show, it's strictly in backticks, so it doesn't work in single quote. So yeah, it's strictly in backticks, the variables.
Okay, but finally it worked, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Anyone else? Anyone else? One more person before we move on to another one? Okay, I suppose we are all good. Let me rename this the sum. Let me rename it as sum. Okay, okay. You can always play around with the SQL statements that you want to write, and basically uh, we are selecting whichever schema that we want. When we say a select star, we are meaning select all the schemas and then from this database. Yeah. So if we say select country, it is a field in this schema. Select field country or select field region, select the sales channel, select the units sold, select whichever field that you want to select from this database, and then you stipulate the variables that you want. Yeah. And then here I said select the field name, which is region, uh, and then also the sum of the profit. And then I'm renaming the total profit as um, sum profit from this schema. And then I'm asking it to group it by the region. And it is giving me these specific answers. So as you can see, I have the region and the sum of the profit. So it depends on how whichever question you're asking, uh, your 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 query can always just be around there. I don't know if someone wants to give us a question to ask or a query to make, but yeah, okay. I can save, as I said, I can always save my view, save the query, the particular query that I've made, and also schedule a query. Now I want us to look at if we want to now explore this particular data that we have been given, if we want to explore it with sheets, what will happen? It's going to give us an Excel spreadsheet that has that data that we have, the view that we have created. Yeah, my data is connected, and as you can see, it is giving me the data that has this view. So I can create a chart, a function, I can extract it, I can do all of the things that I wanted to do in an Excel sheet, other than having to work on it with the 100,000 rows that I was having initially. I only have the view that I've created, and that is it. Okay. Or I can decide to explore this data with Python notebooks. So some of us uh, who are well versed with Python, you select the region that you want, and then it's going to give me I have to first enable the APIs. So these are the core feature APIs, and I enable them. it's taking a bit of time, but after this, it's going to give me an interface that looks like the Colab, yeah? Since it's Google, it will give me Colab and I'll be able to work on this particular view in Google Colab using my Python knowledge. So if you have any Python knowledge, you can still work on the data using. It's taking a bit of time. We will not wait for it, but it's going to give you the Colab within your cloud BigQuery and your workspace. So you'll be able to work on that particular view in Python. Okay. Then you can still be able to explore Looker Studio, create visualizations, and all of that. Data Canvas is a very new field. I think it was introduced earlier this year, but you can still use Looker Studio, create graphs, create pie charts with that particular view that you have created. Okay. Then finally, I wanted to look at the IAM, Entity and Access Management, that we've been talking about. We have a whole module for it here. Yes. You can always set if it's an organizational account, or you have people that you always want to share the data with, you can set them up from here. You have the IAM, PAM, identity and the organization, and then you have your roles and your tags, and you manage the resources, and then you create a project. But now, since we already have something we are working on right now, we can share from here. So if you want to share, you have to first save. So when you save the view, I want it to be in this data set already. Remember what I mentioned, that you can have the same data set but have different tables in it. So I'm creating a new table, which is my new view. The view was just showing me the totals, the sums of the profits from each region. So I'm going to create this new, I'm going to save it as a new table under the data set that was already there. So I'm going to call it sum. Sum profits. Okay, and I save it. Why? Oh. Okay. Okay, let me refresh, and then I wonder why it's failing to save. Okay, I wonder if you guys on your end can save. Let's see. Okay, there is an error that is happening on my end, but I'm sure you should be able to save. When you try to save this,
You could also just comment.
Okay, I've already removed it. Should have commented it. I wonder if that could be the issue. Okay, that was the issue. I was having multiple SQL statements. So I have saved it, and then after I have saved it, I am able to work on the permissions. Okay. So basically I am sorry, just give me a second. Go. So we have our view and we have our data set, and we want a particular person to be able to access it. We'll just add them, and this is where you add the principal, and then you you designate what you want them to be able to do. So adding a principal means I am adding a new, maybe email, I'm adding a new email group, and then I'm going to give that principal the permission to to my particular resource. So I will use, I don't know who can volunteer their email address. Can anyone just volunteer? Kwezi, Keith, should I add you here?
Kemubarak, Anuzi,
Uh-huh.
MUHA,
MUHA.
NU,
Uh-huh.
ZI@gmail.com.
And then I select a role. Basic, are there an editor, owner, viewer, and on which service do I want them to be at? So basically, are they a BigQuery admin, editor, owner, whichever? So I can say just an editor. And I can add another role and another role, as many roles as you want for whichever resources that you want. Yeah. And then that is it. I have added them, and they're able to view. Yeah. So I have Kemo. When I look at my editors here, I have Kemo Barak here, and he'll be able to get a notification on his end to be able to view my resource. If I want them to edit, I can invite them to edit. If it's a group, I can invite it to I can invite the whole group with all the emails that are in it to be an editor, an owner of whichever resource that I want them to be at. Yeah, I think that is largely it. We will not go into the larger IAM module because it is very large and it is talking about all the different resources. So what IAM does is you're managing all of your resources, all of these products, all of the virtual machines, all of the instances that you have connected, everything, you manage it from IAM and admin. Yeah, you're giving out roles, you're giving out, um, uh, you're assigning roles and tasks and resources to those particular people that you are saying should access your instances or your containers. So it's a larger module, but I wanted you to see it from the end of BigQuery. How can I make someone access the work that I'm doing, or how can they be able to also collaborate with me on the very work that I'm doing? So largely, that is it. We have seen how to manipulate, how to use SQL, how to load, and then also how to connect our data sources, whether they are local, cloud, or external. So with the cloud storage, you're going to be asked to create a container, and then you're going to put your data inside that container and then connect it. Yeah. The good thing with if you use cloud storage, that means that you can use this one container in many instances. You can use the data inside here for for analytics, or you can use it on very, very many other instances on your application. If you have come up with an application and you want to use that data somewhere there, you can incorporate it there. You can incorporate it on many other modules, yeah, other than just loading the file in here. Because if you load the file in here, it's only going to stay here. But if it's in cloud storage, you can use it on many other modules and instances. Yeah. Also, connections to external data sources. As I said, if you don't want to move your data straight to the cloud. Okay, I think that is largely it. Um, uh, we've said enough. We've had a really good and nice chat.